How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin. I'm back with another video. Here we have a very old stove. This is a homemade stove. Somebody built this stove years ago, and I actually ran across it in somebody's backyard. And I needed a stove for in the shop here because we had taken the shop stove, which was our house stove, and put it back in the house. So we need to fix this stove up and get it set up so we can use it here in the shop. It doesn't have to look pretty, it just has to work right. So it's pretty rough shape. I'll show you what it looks like, and I'll tell you what we're probably going to have to do with it. All right, this is the door that came with this stove. This is, like I said, it's all homemade, and it's pretty crude looking, rough. And I think this is basically the only thing that we're going to have to really do to this stove is build a door. This door doesn't have any hinges on it or anything to open and close it. It used these two little pins down here on the bottom. If you can see them, use these pins to open it and close it. And I'm not so sure I like them pins. I'll show you how it fit on here and show you what we got to do to get it fixed. So they had this stove set up. They had this door set to where it would fit in them two holes. Then you'd be able to close it like so. But it's so warped up. It's in actually pretty rough shape. So I'm not sure it won't even close anymore. It will not go any more closed than what you have right there. And as I look at it, I see this piece here is bowed. Looks like it's bowed in. It would have to be pushed out. And then the door is bowed in also, like as if it was hit with something, maybe pushed in the center. So let's just discard the door pretty much all together, and let's build a whole brand new door for it. Let's get rid of that. So we'll pretty much start from scratch, and we'll build our own door. But the first thing we want to do is we want to get this whole stove cleaned up. See how thick the metal is. I think it's all 1/4-inch steel. Once it's cleaned up, we'll see if there's any rust holes in it or if any plates need replaced. But from looking at it right now, it's not that awful bad. The inside of it doesn't look too bad. I think what we'll do is we'll brick line the inside of it. We'll build a new door and we'll clean it all up and get it painted. I think it'll make a perfect little stove for out here in the shop. Now, by looking at the sides of it, it hasn't been burnt too hot because the sides are not warped on it. Everything looks good and flat on it. It just looks like it's been sitting outside for quite a few years. We're going to see if we can fix it up and make it like new again. So this is our firebox. It doesn't look that bad. I would love to be able to just brick line at least the bottom, and maybe a small one row around the side would be nice. But we'll see. I mean, we're going to use whatever we can find to get this thing up and running. I think I have some fire brick in my old homestead that are still good. We might be able to at least ways get the floor lined. That would be great. So we're going to finish cleaning out this inside. The smoke shelf doesn't look that great in here. It's not that great. You can see it's kind of fallen down a little bit. That's not really a big deal here in the shop, but we'll see what we can do with it. If we can't do much with it, we'll leave it alone. I think it'll be fine, but I would like to get this cleaned out and get some brick in the bottom. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to be cutting these tabs off. We're going to cut all this off here. And then we're going to cut this bottom plate down here at the bottom right here. We're going to cut that off. And we're going to kind of start fresh and see what kind of door we can come up with. I may even have a door for this. So we're going to get that all cut off. We'll clean up that front. We're going to start fresh with it. So as you can see, we got all of the stuff cut off the door. It just got to be cleaned up. Find out why this is warped in. If it is warped in, we'll clean that up, bend that back out, and we'll get ready to put another door on here. That's a lot of work getting that cut off of there. Now this is what we're going to use for a door. The door he had cut for this the first time was an 1/8 inch thick. My door is 3/8 of an inch thick. I got it marked out here where it's going to be going. That is a very heavy door, but it's not going to warp up. It should last forever on this stove. And I also started working on some hinges for this door. This is a 3/8 steel also, and we're going to make us a nice set of hinges. We're going to weld these guys on here, and I yet to cut this set here out, but we'll get her. I got some of them cut. Actually, we're going to do these like this. We want that door to set down on there. I'm just setting them up here so you can get an idea of what I'm doing here as far as building hinges and the door. And also, I started on a couple other things here. I started messing with a breather a little bit, an air breather. What we're going to do is we're going to be welding this. We're going to cut us a hole. We're going to weld that down on there. We're going to build our flapper out of this. This is exactly how we did the flappers on our forges. And then this guy will get welded underneath of there. It will be spring loaded so we can open and close it. And if you guys remember on the old door, it had a couple of these on there, and I didn't realize what them were, but they're actually glass. And that's so you can see your fire in there. I thought maybe I would mount one of them in there, but I'm not for sure. But I thought maybe one would be pretty nice to be able to see if there's any flame in there without opening the door. Now, we still have to build a handle, a locking handle for this. So when we close the door, it will lock. We don't want that door coming open on its own unless we unlock it. I am not going to put a gasket around this. If this was going to be in my house, I would want a gasket around this. I think that I can get it good enough for in the garage to be able to control it in the garage, because in here, everything here is fireproof. Everything that's around this is fireproof. There's nothing there that can actually catch on fire, but we still should be able to control the air really well with this damper and this door closed. In my old shop at the other homestead, The wood burner that we had did not have a gasket on the door, and it did fine. That was in the old shop. I don't mind it so much in the shop, maybe using a potbelly stove or something like that, but if I'm going to be in my house or in a good structure, I want to make sure that I'm able to shut all the air off and put that fire out if something was to get out of control. So I think this is going to work out for us really well. We just got a little bit more work to do to get these hinges going. I mean, they're still a good bit, but I think it'll be fun work. Alright, what I've done is I laid all my hinges over here together so I know how they fit on there. And then I just welded these hinges together so I can grind them and make them all look identically the same. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go drill our hole, the hole that's going to pivot this hinge open and close. So what we're going to do is we're going to see, we're going to try out the new little welder and see how it welds these hinges on here. I'm really surprised at how much power these little welders have. It did pretty good stick welding, so let's see if we can weld these hinges on. So as you can see, my welds are actually really good for this little machine. And I got it set on 110. Yeah, I think it does a really nice job. Unbelievable. Alright, I tried to use a hole saw bit that's 3/8 steel. It wouldn't cut it, so I just took the torches and burned a hole in it. It's going to be fine. All it is a breather hole for this wood burner to have air so it'll breathe to burn. Alright, I wanted to get you guys caught up on the wood stove and what we've got done here. I have both the hinges welded on, which we used a new little welder to weld everything on this stove, including this piece here. This is our draft hole. I also used a new welder on that, the little welder, and it worked great. We had to cut this out. We used the torches, blew a hole, and then I JB welded this piece in there. Alright, I've been working on the door latch. Now, I wanted a pretty good latch on there, something that would lock down good and tight, keep that door good and tight against there because we don't have that seal around there. So, this is what I came up with. As you can see, I just welded a bolt right there. And I welded a washer. I left a washer in between there to give it a space. A little washer underneath here. So we got a space in there so it'll swivel. Little notch there. So it won't. Little notch right here to keep it from going all the way down when the door is open. So it won't go down. And then I got this little wedge here. And this tightens it as it goes down. So I'm thinking about welding a bolt on here so we could use it to screw a handle onto. Okay, our door is pretty much done. We put a rod on here. This is just an old bolt. Cut the head off of it, welded it on there. And we'll put a knob on this. That'll try to keep that stuff cool. Same way with that one down there. And this actually works pretty good. Locks in there pretty nice. I think that's going to work out really nice for a door. That's a much better door than what we had. I know it doesn't have the gasket on it, but I think this is going to work great. So I got a couple holes to drill in the sides, 2 in this side, 2 in that side, and we got a brick line the bottom. After that, we should be able to heat this thing up and start burning it. We'll get some paint on it, make it look pretty, and get it back into place and light it up. Alright, we're going to cut one of the pizza stones that I got here for the bottom of that stove. I think it's going to work out pretty good. We got it marked out so we can cut 2 pieces because we're not going to be able to get it through the door in one big piece. Okay, we finished up the stove last night and got it set into place there. Looks good. I think everything's going to work out great for us. Now, I still have to build a couple handles on here. I need to build a handle for here, a knob, and a knob for down here. But I think we could go ahead and fire this up and see how it burns. Now, we cut our stone for the bottom. So we got a brick layered bottom. I think that'll be just fine. We left that a little loose in there so we could get them brick in there, the stone in there, but that will fill full of ash and it will be just fine in this stove. So I think we're ready to light this guy up and see how it burns. I think we did a pretty good job for a free stove. I think I have a total of $12 in this stove finished, and that was just basically buying the paint. That's not including my labor or the materials I might have used, as in gas to cut and maybe grinding wheels, that type of stuff, but it's not very much. And we have a stove in the shop again, and it's definitely a good thing because it's about 38 degrees this morning and it's cold, so we're going to warm it up and see what happens. Alright, we got our wood in there. Let's give it a shot, see if we can get this guy going. This is the first time lighting it up. Let's see how it burns. Alright, the stove is lit and it's burning, and I'm seeing some water come out of here, but I think that's just moisture off of this heater from it being setting, just a condensation. But yeah, I think that'll go away down there. I'm not sure where it's coming from. Let me open the door, we'll see. It's just the moisture from the heat. I really like having the sight glass in there. That's nice because now I can tell whether there's a fire in there or not, or if there's hot coals. I think this is going to work out pretty good. We're going to get it warmed up here and then we'll get you guys back in here. So the stove's been burning for just a little while now, and it's starting to warm up, the stove itself. And I wanted to shut that air off to see if it makes a difference in our fire in there, to see if we're getting a lot of air around that door. So if you listen, I'll go ahead and shut it down. We do have it fairly airtight because you can see the fire just going out, and that's a good thing. You can see the smoke around the glass now. So we'll open it back up, see if we can get the fire going again. Here comes the fire. It's coming back on. You can see it's starting to light up again. So our door is tight enough that we can actually put the fire pretty much out, or at least slow it down really good. That's one thing you want to be able to do is, slow the fire down. If you have a lot of air leaks around your door, then you're not going to be able to put the fire out, so if it gets too hot. So we're able to control our air really good with this stove and just that one hole right there. This thing is working great. Okay, the stove's been burning for a while now. I put a little heat-powered fan on there, which helps out with moving the air a little bit. I've been able to control the air. I'm actually able to shut it off and put the fire out by closing the damper down here, the air draft, and that's a good thing because we want to be able to control our air. So we took a stove that somebody had actually had out behind their building that was going to go to waste. and we turned it into something that we can use, which is pretty cool. Like I said, I think I have about $12 in this stove, not including, you know, the cutoff wheels, the grinding wheels, the electricity, and my labor. But yeah, I think I got a good stove, pretty cheap. So we're going to leave a link in the description down below for the welder that we used on this door. And we welded everything on this door with that little welder and didn't have any problems with it. I think it'll do anything a hobbyist needs to do in their shop. The stick welder worked great and the MIG welder worked great. So I would like to tell everyone, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment if you'd like. Till next time. So now it's time for me to sit here and enjoy the heat.